Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome in. This is the Overtime Drive SEC Unfiltered SEC football show, the best SEC football show on the internet. It's an exciting time because it is game week for the college football playoff as 4 SEC teams look to punch their ticket to the next round, vying for a national championship. Hello, friends. Once again, it is Sunday, December the 14th. We welcome you in. We're really excited because we are locking in picks for each and every single game of the college football playoff. We're going to give you all our filled out bracket right now, and you can judge us for it. Do you agree? Do you disagree? We're going to make some picks here, lock them in. Guys, we got lots of other things to discuss as well. Kalen DeBoer has released a statement on his future at Alabama. LaNorris Sellers, it looks like he's going to be back for the 2026 season in Columbia. Some other news and notes to get into as well. Your questions, your comments, and as always, I'm Chris Phillips. He is Cole the Bear Thompson, and we thank each and every single one of you for tuning in. Guys, as always, we get going. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. We're inching ever so close to that 30,000 subscriber mark. We cannot do it without your love and support. Also, check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Of course, we drop daily content there as well, including social media. Again, guys, we appreciate all the love wherever you consume SEC Unfiltered. Also, we are brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel, so make sure you check out our friends over at FanDuel, FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. It is Sunday, December the 14th, 2025, and this is the Overtime Drive. I'm Chris Phillips. He's Cole the Bear Thompson. It's a big show because we're locking in each of our picks for the college football playoff, our filled out brackets, if you will. Of course, we'll preview, predict these games more in depth as we go throughout the week and as the college football playoff goes on. But we're locking in some picks ahead of the show getting going this upcoming weekend where, again, the road to the national championship will truly begin in this first round. And, again, we've got tons of other stuff, headliners to get into, and it feels good to get back in the saddle. Yours truly is back from taking a week or so to decompress, cut the brain off, hit the ski slopes, and have ourselves one hell of a time, guys. Again, appreciate you all tuning in. I'm Chris Phillips. He's Cole the Bear Thompson. Bear, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time. It is good to be back. I appreciate you holding down the fort, but really, really excited to chat with you once again, my friend. Really, really pumped to be back.
Okay, so just let's start here. How many times did you slip and eat your ass on the slopes? How many times? It at least happened once, right?
It did. I biffed pretty hard one time. It only happened twice. It only happened twice. No,
really?
22. It was my last run of Tuesday night. I was night skiing and I got crossed up, man. Thankfully, I'm still here. Thankfully, I'm in one piece.
Were you going down a black or a blue?
Well, so right now the only runs open where I went are the blues. There's no black runs available yet. So we'll be going back in January, probably. Got to get back after it. But, it was a run I'd done a lot of times and just kind of got lazy with it or crossed up or something and just ate shit. So, I mean, it happens. Thankfully, I'm pretty good at falling. I know that sounds weird to say, but you can be bad at falling.
You can be very bad at falling.
I'm able to fall pretty – like when I fall, I go limp. I don't stiffen up when I fall, which is obviously when you do that. That's when you break a bone. That's when you tear something. Luckily, when I fall, I kind of try to roll with it. So I did eat it pretty hard one time, though. Then I had one other fall. It was kind of just like a slip, and I kind of did a baseball slide into it. But, I'm glad to be in one piece, man. It's, again, it's good to be here, good to be back. Really excited. This is an exciting week. The college football playoffs officially upon us. Like I said, my friend, I appreciate you and Alex holding it down. I was watching the show, admittedly, on Wednesday. What I wanted to ask you was, how was your first weekend without SEC football? First weekend since August. I know for me, it was relaxing. It was also a little bit weird. So,
I refused not to watch football this weekend. So I took an Army-Navy. I went out on Friday night. I enjoyed Montana State versus SFA. I was in love with watching the finale of what was Illinois State versus UC Davis. Like, ladies and gentlemen, you think that I kid around when I say college football is a livelihood for me. I am fully invested in the Bobcats versus the Grizzlies, where there will be a battle in Bozeman, Montana, for an opportunity to go play in the national championship in the city that Chris Phillips lives in that he doesn't know yet, but there is a conversation about a few of us maybe making a trip on up to Nissan Stadium to actually watch that game come January 5th. So, yeah, I would not let go of college football this weekend. I refuse to. I refuse to let go of the Heisman Trophy presentation. I refuse to let go of anything that was going on with the LA Bowl. Congratulations to Michigan's future coach to get to 9 wins this year. I mean, Jed Fish killed it. So you got to be happy about what's going on in Ann Arbor. You weren't getting rid of college football this easily from your boys. You just weren't.
Yeah, I was watching for sure. I mean, I was locked into Army Navy for the most part. I got a buddy here that I made that he has got a lot of Army buddies. They were watching the game. He was in the Army as well, or still is in the Army, I should say. So they, he wasn't as like diehard. Some of his buddies actually went to West Point. So they were out watching the game. It actually turned out to be a classic, a great game.
Fantastic game.
Yeah, fantastic game. By the way, I did know about the FCS National Championship because we are working on tickets for it already. So that's probably something I'm definitely going to be at. So you'll have to let me know, Bear. Yeah, we had the Heisman Trophy, everything else. Again, we're going to talk about all this. The drama has been through the roof, even though the regular season has come and gone. Conference championship weekend, of course, come and gone. But the storylines and, I mean, heck, some of the things that you already talked about, we've had another one of the top jobs in college football open up because, just because
things went south, kids. Things went south. Don't. Just remember, don't eat where you sleep. Just don't do it, people, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So it's there's been no lack of dramatics when it comes to the college football news cycle, if you will. But again, guys, we got tons to discuss. We're taking your questions and your comments as well. So please make sure you leave those for us. I do want to get to a few of these, say what's up to some of y'all. Turkey Slammer 9549, what's going on? Appreciate you. We're going to talk about Diego Pavia more in just a second. He also mentions Knowles, the Rocky Top. I know, obviously, something, Cole, that was something you covered pretty in-depth. Obviously, a big pickup there at the DC. Our guy Sandman's in the chat. Hook 'em. What's going on? Hope OU enjoys their college football playoff participation trophy after getting bounced in the first round. I love that the trash talk is already alive and well. Alex Mitchum, thoughts on the Carolina staff hires. We are definitely going to discuss that when we talk about LaNorris Sellers and some of the news around him. Ace Boogie, same thing. Appreciate you tuning in. Mr. Bucknuts, who's obviously pulling for the Ohio State Buckeyes as the college football playoff gets going this weekend. We appreciate you, our resident Ohio State fan, tuning in. Cultured Reb is up in here reposting the stream. Thank you, Cultured Reb. We got a big announcement coming near the end of the show, so just make sure you stay tuned for that. Tattoo Baker, I would tell you the exact same thing. I will announce where I'm going this weekend towards the end of the show, so make sure that you stay tuned. Mega Boy's in here also. Again, we appreciate you all tuning in. We could go through. Continue to leave us your comments. We'll take them throughout the show, and we'll have a dedicated session near the end of the show for Q&A. Want to take all of your questions, get your hot takes, get your predictions, and just have banter with you all, because that's why we do it. We love to do it. We're here. We're rocking. All right, Bear, that being said, it is game week for the college football playoff. I am really, really excited. We've got bowl games obviously in full swing getting going this week, which you mentioned the LA Bowl. Boy, that was a sad turnout. I hope that's not an indication of what bowl season's going to be, but that bowl game is also over, I believe now. That one's done.
No, this is the last year of it.
That one's dead and gone now. So it is what it is. But the big ones get going this weekend. The college football playoff is officially here. We've got 5 SEC teams, 4 of which will be playing this weekend. Of course, we've got Alabama, Oklahoma, and Norman. We've got A&M and Miami in College Station. Ole Miss and Tulane and Oxford. And, of course, the Georgia Bulldogs await their opponent as they have that first-round bye. But that being said, we are locking in each of our picks for the college football playoff bracket, locking in our national champion as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. We've got the brackets ready for you guys. I'm going to let Cole the Bear Thompson start with his bracket. Bear, walk us through this thing. And again, guys, if you want the full game previews, predictions, all that good stuff, we are going to have those as we have all season long. Go really, really in depth for you guys with each of these games. But imagine this kind of being like March Madness. When you fill out your bracket, that's exactly what we have done. So that being said, drum roll, please. This is the official CFP bracket for Cole the Bear Thompson. He's got Georgia hoisting the hardware when the dust settles in Miami as the national champions. Bear, walk me through how you got there and why at the end of the day it was Georgia.
All right, let's start with this. Oregon's going to run through JMU. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And I do think that Ole Miss is going to have a fair share of struggles in the first quarter, get their feet underneath them with the new head coach running the show. They'll run away and they'll beat Tulane and they'll cover the spread, in my opinion, at that point. So let's talk about the other two games. I look at Alabama. I think Alabama right now is a team to where if you told me that they show up the way they did against Georgia, the way they showed up at times against Auburn, and the way they showed up against Oklahoma in the first matchup, they're not going to win. The thing is that it's very hard to beat a team twice in the regular season, as people love to point out all the time. And I also think that when you look at Alabama, they're getting healthier at the right moment. They're going to put themselves in a good position to where they feel like that they're going to have enough momentum offensively to win with time of possession, win with stability when it comes to third down connectivity. I think that you are going to see a more stout version of Ty Simpson make plays left and right. And at the end of the day, I trust Ty Simpson. I trust Ryan Grubb. I trust Kalen DeBoer. They're going to go into the Palace on the Prairie. Low-scoring affair. You're not going to have the turnovers the way that Oklahoma is going to need to capitalize. Therefore, I got Alabama moving on. This is going to be, in my opinion, a rock fight to the finish, and ultimately one team just getting that late touchdown to kind of seal it. Now, Texas A&M and Miami, I think, is going to be the complete opposite. I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game. I'm very excited to see where this team goes because whether you like it or not, guys, Miami's rolling with fire right now. They were playing hot down the stretch. Malachi Toney, in my opinion, is the most exciting player in college football, at least not named Zachariah Branch. There's a reason to believe that this team is going to be able to go into Kyle Field, early kick, 11 a.m., make this an interesting battle, especially in the trenches. But I just look currently at where we are when it comes to A&M's defense and A&M's wide receiver corps. They have such a good identity when it comes to how to win 15 yards downfield, how to get the explosives. And they are going to be healthier on the offensive line and in the running back room for the first time since really like week 6. So 2 weeks off, put themselves in a good position to where I see that they are going to have everything hitting their stride at the right time going into the fourth quarter. They'll pull away. They'll get the win over Miami. They'll find a way to go ahead and guarantee their spot in the next round of the playoff. Texas Tech, Oregon, I think this could be a really interesting game. I think the thing that I look at, though, I believe that having even a tune-up game against JMU is going to be so prominent just to get all the kinks on out, kind of get players caught up to speed and looking their best part. That's going to be what we saw last season for Notre Dame. They got a game out of the way to where they put themselves in a good position. They were able to beat up on Georgia by having that one-time four-quarter action against a lesser-tier team. Put themselves in that conversation. They're going to run all over Texas Tech. This is where it ends for Alabama. I think that when you look at what Kirk Cignetti's been able to build, not enough people pay attention to that defense. Not enough people pay attention to that running game. Not enough people pay attention to what this offensive identity can be. You have the Heisman Trophy winner in Fernando Mendoza. I think Alabama has a good fight for 3 quarters. I think Indiana pulls away in the fourth. They deliver a game to remember, put themselves in the national semifinals for the first time in program history. Ole Miss, they're going to get a chance to get repentance for what happened in that matchup back in Stanford. I think that right now, this is going to be an interesting game where what are we going to get from Pete Golding? Because this will be the first time that I think Pete's going to be tested as a head coach. Here's why now. You're always going to see Kirby Smart make the necessary adjustments in the second half. He does it every single time that they're down. He does it in every single matchup, and it's why Georgia right now is rolling as the hottest team in the SEC for the college football playoff. I think Ole Miss has a good game. I think Georgia has a great game. Georgia moves on. And then Texas A&M versus Ohio State. I really think that this could be an intriguing battle for Ohio State because what are they going to look like coming off a loss? What are they going to look like with 25 days off of rest? There are things that I just do not believe are going to be right on cue. But I also do believe at this point, Ohio State has shown me more consistency in some of the bigger games they've had this year. So I'm going to go with Ohio State. I'm rolling with them as to be the champion. Oregon versus Indiana. Like I said, I think momentum's going to carry in this matchup. And Dante Moore, with having a healthy DeCorian Moore, having a healthy Malik Benson, having a healthy Evan Stewart potentially, there's a lot of things to like about where this passing attack could go to where you get your revenge on Indiana for losing to them in Autzen Stadium where they had an incredible second half and you kind of crapped the bed. I think that Kirk Cignetti understands that there are going to be moments to where we could easily win this one or lose this one. And I think if they lose this one, and that's where Oregon punches its ticket down to South Beach, it stops the Fernando Mendoza hype train going on back home to win a title in front of his fans. But on the flip side, Georgia and Ohio State, in my opinion, is going to be the national championship. Much like it felt like last season where Texas took on Ohio State, that late fourth quarter scoop and score by Jack Sawyer was ultimately the deciding factor. To me, I think this is where Georgia is just able to do enough. They're playing with fire. Offensively, they're going to be, I think, a lot more of a dominant overall performance. You're going to get Zachariah Branson space. He's going to make plays in the open field. Trusting the run game and putting yourself in a position to where you can tire down Ohio State's defensive line is ultimately what is going to decide this. And I think it comes down to Peyton Woodring's leg. He gets a game-winning field goal to go ahead and send this on off to the national championship. And then ultimately, whoever wins that game, I think is going to win it all. Give me Georgia over over Oregon. I just see there being too much momentum playing for the Dogs. And Kirby Smart, he's now going to be able to get his third championship since joining the program down in Athens, and his first bringing the title back to the SEC for the first time since 2023.
Bear, what was the game that you struggled with the most, would you say, in your bracket?
Honestly, Miami, Texas A&M. Like, I was right on the precipice of saying that I think Miami can do this. I really did, because Miami's defensive line is elite. Miami's defensive backfield has transformed into one of the more, I would say, balanced units in college football. And they have a great offensive line that allows Carson Beck to stand upright and make plays behind the line of scrimmage. But to me, you got a Malachi Toney. They got a Casey Concepcion. You have a CJ Daniels. They got a Mario Craver. And they also have a Nate Borkature. And they also have an Amari Niblack. And they also have a Terry Bussey. And they also have a Bethel Roman. And they also have a great rushing attack. And all these other little things that maybe Miami isn't that accustomed to having. So therefore, it just felt like it's easier to see Texas A&M, even when they're down, be able to fight their way on back, because I've seen them fight their way on back before. I've seen them to be able to deliver when they're out of the running, and people are talking about this being the overall massive upset of all upsets by South Carolina. And they didn't listen to the outside noise, and they put together meaningful drives, and they won the football game. But I think that ultimately that's really what this came down to. If you told me that Miami won this game, I wouldn't be shocked. If you told me that A&M won this game, I wouldn't be shocked. Same thing for Alabama, Oklahoma. I can honestly see a scenario where Oklahoma just runs the table with Alabama, and it's a low-scoring affair, but it's an affair that ends up leading to the team from Norman going off and playing against the team out on the West Coast. I just like Ty Simpson a little bit more. I think that you're going to get a little bit more in the passing game. You're going to get into your bag of tricks if you're Ryan Grubb, and you're going to put together a meaningful drive in the second half that I think ultimately shifts momentum away from John Mateer and company and puts it in your position.
There you have it. By the way, Georgia plus 600 to win the national championship. Those odds coming via our friends, of course, over at FanDuel. Ohio State is the favorite at plus 190. Indiana plus 330. The rest is this: Oregon plus 800. Texas Tech plus 850. A&M plus 1,800. Ole Miss plus 2,200. Bama plus 2,500. Miami plus 2,700, Oklahoma plus 5,000, and then Tulane and James Madison both at plus 75,000. So, again, Bear hammering Georgia to get it done and take down Oregon. And as we pull up my bracket, guess what? I've got the Georgia Bulldogs hoisting the hardware as well. I think Kirby Smart and the boys get it done as we walk through my bracket. Bear, like you mentioned, I think Oregon, JMU, Ole Miss, and Tulane. I think both of these games are fairly easy wins for each of the respective Power 4 opponents. I'm not going to sit here and harp on the G5 and the college football playoff and what have you. My thoughts are very well documented on it. I don't think either one of these games is particularly close. I think maybe Ole Miss, Tulane, if one of them was going to get interesting, it'd be that one. But how are we defining interesting? Because it's within 2 touchdowns. I mean, I don't see either one of these teams being at serious threat of losing the football game. So Oregon, Ole Miss, those are the easy picks, both advance. I'm also going with Alabama to beat Oklahoma. I think it's really hard to beat the same team twice. I also think there's just no way Alabama is going to go into Norman and turn the football over 3 times like they did last time. I think if you're Alabama, you look at it simply as this: if we take care of the football, we're going to win this game. It's really that simple. Give Oklahoma a lot of credit. That front seven we've talked about as the great equalizer. I just don't see them playing that poorly and being that careless with the football again. I think also potentially, hear me out, call me crazy, the SEC championship, bit of a wake-up call for Alabama, shook them a little bit, refocused, locked in. I think it could actually help them. And yeah, in a game, two suspect offenses, I trust Bama's more right now. A&M Miami, I've got the Aggies. I like the physicality of Texas A&M, obviously, as I have all season. I'm not selling all my stock on them just because of one game at the end of the season they lost in the regular season to Texas. I agree with you. I think this is a high-flying game, high-scoring. But I like the Aggies. I don't think in a historic season like this you're going to go one and done in the college football playoff. I just don't see it. Big Marcel Reed game. I think Texas A&M will advance to the quarterfinals. Back to the top of the bracket, I got Texas Tech over Oregon, man. Texas Tech feels kind of like a team of destiny vibe when I look at them. That team of destiny vibes for me I get from Texas Tech. Joey McGuire and the boys, I think they beat Oregon. They move on. Alabama, Indiana. Listen, I have talked a lot about Kurt Cignetti. I'm not the biggest Kurt Cignetti fan. I got Cignetti fatigue. I'll put it that way. I've got thoughts on the Heisman Trophy and who won it and who should have won it. But you got to give Indiana their roses, man. They showed me a lot when they beat Ohio State. And I think Alabama, I do think they'll be able to get their vengeance on Oklahoma. I don't think this is a team, at least I don't trust them to do it, and I don't believe they will. I don't think they are a team built to make a deep run in this thing just because of the lack of consistency. I don't know what I'm going to get out of a Ty Simpson. I don't know. Like, at some point, they're going to have to run the football. I think against Indiana very well, that may be the case. And are they able to do it? So I'm going to give Indiana the dub there. I think they beat Alabama to advance to the semis. Georgia, Ole Miss. Cole, I've seen this already. Yeah. There's really just not a whole lot of not a lot of. We don't need to fluff this one up a ton. I'm not saying that Ole Miss can't keep it more competitive, or again, they were. Excuse me, let me take that back. They were competitive in that game, very close game. But we've already seen this ball game, and this Georgia football team's gotten a lot better since the first time these two teams played. And you're right, for Pete Golding, this is going to be a massive, massive test. Much easier said than done to square off with Kirby Smart, mano a mano. I think Georgia gets the win. They're playing at an elite level right now. Ohio State, Texas A&M. This one's really intriguing to me. I went Ohio State. The offense scares the hell out of me. It really, really does for Ohio State. I think Texas A&M could cause some problems for the Buckeyes, and they very well could win this football game, but I am going to go with Ohio State. You're right. It does feel like Georgia, Ohio State, whoever wins that's winning the national title. Yeah. That's what it feels like to me. I know you said the same thing as well. Texas Tech, Indiana, for what it's worth. I do have Texas Tech winning this game and getting to the national championship. So a magical season in Lubbock, but I think it is going to come to an end at the hand of the Georgia Bulldogs, who I think beat Ohio State. Again, I just think Georgia – just playing at a different level right now. They are the best team in college football right now. I don't think there's much of an argument, if we're being totally honest. Now, here's what scares me, because here's what's interesting. Last year, you might recall, teams that had a bye went 0-4.
Yep.
And you and I both have them going 4-0. So I don't think what
happened. I have one upset.
Which one did you
I had Oregon over Texas Tech.
That's right. Okay, you did have Oregon. Okay,
I'm 3-1.
So 3-1. So I've got them 4-0. So that's what scares me about my bracket. I've got all the teams that have the byes winning. I don't think necessarily what happened last year is, again, it's a 1-year sample size. It's not really a good sample size at all. But it will be interesting, how these teams look off of the, all that extra time off. Does it help? Are we saying that it maybe hurts? Our team's rusty? What have you? Is it a big excuse? I don't know. I don't think it really matters, though. I just think when it comes down to it, man, it feels like a warpath between Georgia and Ohio State. Whoever wins that one wins the national title. So I think outside of them, I would say, like, the team that I feel best about, third best, probably Texas Tech to hoist the trophy. But I really think the winner of Georgia-Ohio State is going to win the whole thing. Sure. I really do.
So I personally think that Oregon is going to get healthy at the right time, and they still had a top 10 defense without several players. They had a top 15 offense without multiple wide receivers, and they're going to get Corian Moore back. They're going to get, I think, Evan Stewart back, which is really beneficial to them. I also will push back when it comes to the, having all the upsets in the first round after the bye. The thing was that last season, remember, they gave themselves up by the top 4 conference champions. So last season, Boise State got a bye, and Arizona State got a bye, and Georgia got a bye, and then so-and-so got a bye. And so they all lost because of that. You don't have that this year. You don't have the conference champions all just getting that first round bye. So what you're doing is you're now saying that you're rewarded for having a great season. Ohio State, you lost your conference championship game, but you went 12-0. We know how good you are. You're not going to lose this game if you play up to your standard. Indiana, you're the number 1 team in the country. You've earned your right to guarantee that first round bye. And Alabama or Oklahoma have so many faults for the team just in general that either one of them is going to be coming in already beaten and bruised to where I don't know if they're going to end up losing, like if they're even going to have to worry about that matchup, because you just got so many issues, I think, for both of them that they'll shoot themselves in the foot. And then again, Texas Tech and Oregon, I could see either one getting that win. Texas Tech has a really good defense. Oregon, I think, is playing with house money after beating JMU. So, like, add all that together, it's different because if you don't have those teams that just got to buy because they want a division title. Like if that was going to be the case, then you would have had potentially Tulane getting a first-round bye, and you would have had Miami potentially getting a first-round bye, or JMU getting a first-round bye, and then we could have that conversation. But we don't. So the committee kind of fixed that part. There's still a lot that they got to go ahead and change if they want to steer the ship in the right direction long-term.
I'm to a point, Bear, I think I might throw a bet down on Georgia to win it all. I really do. I feel good about the Dogs. I think they are playing truly on a different level right now.
If you could have a dark horse bet, who would it be?
Based off the odds?
Yeah.
Good question. I will say I'll go Texas A&M.
I go Miami. I think that we're in the same spot because we look at that game and say,
yeah.
Look, if you come out sluggish, if you're Ohio State, you're absolutely going to lose because Texas A&M is a good enough defense, and I think that Miami has a good enough offense that can go toe to toe with anybody in the country if they don't have turnovers. But I like those odds at plus 7,000 for Miami. Like that's just it. And then if it's not them, I think Texas A&M absolutely has the same argument. They play up to their standard. They can go into Arlington and get a win over Ohio State. I could easily see that happening.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, man, because you think about just weeks ago, we were talking about, which teams from the SEC can win it all. And A&M was the first one that people mentioned, even before Georgia. It's like, let's not forget just because of one loss in the Lone Star Showdown in a rivalry game, how good this A&M team really is. And I know they kind of faded down the stretch from the standpoint of they were not playing great football. But if they can – use the time off and get back to what they were, say, mid-season, yeah, this team's dangerous. This team's very, very – I think this team could beat Georgia. I don't think that's out of the question. I don't know if I would pick it, but, it wouldn't stun me.
The way Georgia's playing right now, it's very hard for, I think, anybody to beat them.
Right.
I think it's not a Texas A&M thing. It's not an Ole Miss thing. It's not a Bama thing. It's the way that you're seeing Georgia play – and all of the non-self-inflicted wounds that we saw earlier in the year are now a thing of the past, they're going to have some turnovers. And I just don't see that happening to help out any team. You're going to have to help out a team that's playing Georgia rather than Georgia's taking control.
I think A&M maybe with the physicality, maybe could go but we're both picking the Dogs either way.
Yeah.
We're both going Georgia, which again feels like a safe pick right now. Going to be a ton of fun, guys. We'd love to hear from you. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Cole and I, great minds think alike. The brackets are very, very similar. And again, we're both putting our money on Georgia at plus 600 to come out on top and hoist the hardware. So we will see what happens with that. All right, Cole, we got a lot of other stuff to get into. Let's talk Heisman Trophy because our guy Diego Pavia went to New York City and finished just short as Fernando Mendoza, Indiana quarterback, wins the Heisman. Despite some of the numbers being in favor of Diego Pavia, what have you, he did finish second in the voting. And my question to you is this: did Diego Pavia get robbed?
Did he get robbed? No, but I will say that I'm going to look at every single ballot at this point. I would like to see every single person's ballot and ask yourself, what really was it that made Diego Pavia not even on your top 3?
Some of the ballots,
I just want to know that.
The audacity of some people to even tweet out those ballots.
And then to come up with
astonishing.
To come up with some nonsensical BS on why X player's in, but not him. Okay, I would understand Jacob Rodriguez. I can get behind that. He had a special year, incredible defensive performance throughout the entire season. I get that. But you're going to tell me Caleb Downs, who in my opinion wasn't even the best player on his defense, was ahead of Diego Pavia? That's the guy you're going to go. He's not even the best player right now, I think, in college football on his own team. And you're saying that he's ahead of him. You're throwing out guys like Haynes King getting a first place vote over Diego Pavia. That's where my brain goes when it comes to that standpoint. And by the way, explain your logic behind it. What was the reason he wasn't in your top 3? And the only thing I will listen to is I don't like him as a person. Therefore, I'm not rewarding him because of it. There's integrity when it comes to Heisman. If you want to throw that out there, that's fine. It's a cop-out. It's a crappy answer, but I can at least live with that. If you're saying, oh, no, I was more impressed with this player, that. No, you weren't. No, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to us. You're lying to you're lying to the Heisman committee. You're lying to Diego Pavia and Fernando Mendoza. You're lying to everybody. You're just saying it because if you don't like the dude. But instead, you're trying to come up with some illogical reasoning or thought process of, hey, this guy sucks. He didn't beat anybody really of prominence. Meanwhile, he had one of the greatest seasons and the greatest months of college football. He gets a massive win over Tennessee on the road. He's able to go ahead and have a completion percentage over 71% to close out the month. He has a touchdown to interception ratio of 11 to 1. You can't justifiably say from a stat standpoint that that's him. That he did not belong in your top 3. You just can't.
I think what we saw, Cole, to a lot of the points that you're making, I think what we saw, and I didn't realize how severe it was, how many people truly have disdain for Diego Pavia.
Yep.
We really, because a lot of people, after he finished second, I get it. Some of the stuff he welcomes onto himself, he brings onto himself. F the voters. He's out there partying in New York City after the ceremony, which I don't really care. The guy's 24. He just went to the Heisman Trophy ceremony. He led his team to a 10-win season. If he wants to go out there and party, then so be it. I don't really give a damn. It is what it is. But you saw a lot of people use this as an opportunity to stand on some made-up moral high ground and shout down at how terrible of a person Diego Pavia is and probably say a lot of things that they wanted to say all season but didn't or couldn't. That's what you saw. A lot of people out there that were doing that. Listen, personally, me, and maybe it's because I'm not a Heisman Trophy voter, so I don't take it personally. I don't have emotion tied up in this. I think there's some folks out there, not naming any names, there's some folks out there in the college football media community that do vote on this. They get really, really butthurt, and they think what they do is so important that if I didn't cast my ballot for the Heisman Trophy, that the college football world would stop spinning. If I stopped covering the game, they'd stop playing the games. That's how important my job is, the integrity of me as a journalist and blah, 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 whatever. So when he goes out there and says, F the voters because I didn't win, well, they take that really personally and get butthurt. People want to say that he didn't win or shouldn't have won because of the type of person he is. Listen, his brothers are maniacs. I get it. His mom's all over SEC Network and ESPN, the Theo Vaughn stuff. I get it. What has Diego Pavia done to really warrant some of the shots that he received in the last 48, 72 hours or so? This is kind of beside the point of him winning the Heisman Trophy or not winning the Heisman Trophy. The outpouring of hatred towards this dude, and I say towards this kid, I get it. He's 24 years old. He's not 20. He's not 21. 24 is a grown man, but still, people act like this dude's 40. He's a 24-year-old dude still in college, whatever. And I'm not saying have sympathy for him from that standpoint. Like I said, he is a grown man. But I know what I was like at 24, Cole. I was out there at the club doing stuff like Diego Pavia was doing too. I wasn't doing anything malicious, but we've all been there. He's a dude in his 20s. It is what it is. The dude hasn't gone to jail. He's not out there like making a mockery of Vanderbilt. All he ever did was be super confident and a little bit cocky at times and have belief in his abilities and deliver, like you said, on virtually every single promise he ever made. And that makes him the ultimate villain of college football. I was extremely disappointed with the amount of people, again, fans, but especially media types, media heads, quote unquote, journalists, big J's, whatever, that took this weekend as an opportunity to throw shade on him, to shit on him, to talk down on him. And it's like, I get it. The dude's not a perfect human being, but it felt like the judgment and the backlash was not worth any of the crimes that he himself has committed. Again, I know for some people he's not your cup of tea. He might rub you the wrong way. It is what it is. I love it. I think it's a breath of fresh air in a sport that has so many coach speak answers and dullness and guys that – and listen, I loved what Fernando Mendoza said. That speech was incredible. I was like, is he not reading this off of something? Because that just felt too good. It almost felt too good. From the heart, that was great. That was really, really great. I respected the hell out of that. I'm not necessarily upset Mendoza won, but just the energy on social media from people, man, after and like, again, the leaving Diego Pavia out of your top three, brother, that's just spiteful. Like you're just being a hater at that point. And oh, by the way, this whole like, well, he didn't win the Heisman Trophy because of his character. Like, oh yes, because the Heisman Trophy is certainly, it goes to the highest character individual every single year. Should we start rattling off some of the names of guys that have hoisted the Heisman Trophy? Like, come on, man. Like, come on. Like, don't that's such a cop-out BS thing. So, whatever, man. Between I said this, between Vandy going 10-2 and not making the college football playoff and Diego Pavia not winning the Heisman Trophy and then getting all the shit he got on social media in the aftermath, I mean, make the 30 for 30 on this Vandy football team because it's outrageous. And I loved what our guy Hack Squat Jim Duggan said on social media. Everybody says they want the underdog. They pull for the underdog until the underdog gets on top. And then you see how people really feel. People's true colors show. I never knew it was possible Vanderbilt could be so hated and that their starting quarterback could be so hated. But here we are. I was blown away by it all, dude, to be honest with you.
I would like to go a step further because I have some friends that are in the media landscape that did have a vote, and they did vote for Diego Pavia. And they don't need to hear me go on a vitriol rant.
The backlash on people that said they voted for him was crazy.
That to me is where I have to come step on up. It's okay not to like a person. It's okay to say that this type of character is not your cup of tea and that you do not think he belongs with the highest honor in college football. But there are people out there that do this for a job. There are people out there that truly embrace what is this sport, and they're entitled to their opinion. And to hear some of the racist, disgusting, vitriol comments because of you voted for a 24-year-old quarterback because you like the way he played is almost as distasteful as some people saying that Diego Pavia should be thrown in jail because of the actions of what other people do. It's actually worse in my opinion because it's an opinion. Like, listen, if I had a vote, it would have gone to Diego Pavia. I'm not saying that you have to be on the same page as me. That's the beauty about an opinion. It's only wrong until it's proven by scientific fact that it's wrong. Until then, it's a thought process. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't help you. It doesn't do anything for you. But to me, seeing the way that people responded to several friends of mine who I very, very much have incredible amount of respect for, who have done great things for the game of college football, who continuously report and give finite details and tell incredible stories for the love of what they do, to be called and saying that they need to be deported and saying that, we're going to go ahead and send you back to the 7-Eleven and make sure that you go to these other, it's disgusting. It's absolutely pathetic. And you're a pathetic excuse of a human if you can use that against it. For a guy that you voted for, that they're lucky enough to have a vote for. And they're allowed to use their voice to go ahead and play it at the highest honor. And they didn't pick the candidate that you liked. It's absolutely disgusting. Now, I will say I was not a fan of how Diego Pavia handled the situation. And I never will be. I will not be a fan of him going
on that note, Bear. You can continue. I just wanted to throw this out there for those who who may have missed it, this was how Diego Pavia handled the situation.
Like, and to me, the reason why you hate that is because there were people out there, many people, who voted for him. And they voted for him for first place. I mean, don't get me wrong. There were way more who voted for Fernando Mendoza. But there were people who voted for him. And there were a lot of people who also voted for him for second place. And that's where it's just like, yeah, it's really just, it's not really, you know, unfortunately, you didn't win it, man. I'm sorry. They went 13-0. Usually the quarterback for the undefeated team gets a good shot. He had a good season. The part that really annoyed me was he spoke so highly of Fernando Mendoza earlier in the week. And he talked a lot about like how Fernando Mendoza's character is really promising and how he completely understands how that team is rallied behind him and how they're a good roster and he hopes to see them go off in the playoff. And then he goes out to the bar and says, F Indiana. It's like, don't take that moment away from Fernando Mendoza. Like be as pissed as you want when it comes to not getting the award. And I completely understand that. But to keep it a buck, dude, Fernando Mendoza did exactly what you did. He took a team that nobody believed in, nobody thought was going to do much, and he brought it up to the highest level to where people had to start paying attention. And he did it to where he was able to guarantee his spot in the college football playoff. And unfortunately, you guys didn't. But don't take that out on Fernando Mendoza. Like, if you want to go ahead and say F the voters, okay, that's your personality. I'm totally fine with that. Because you want to what? Sometimes you can go ahead and let your frustration go on out. But for a guy who did nothing wrong and said a beautiful, eloquent speech, and on top of all that, he talked about his mom battling with MS, and he talked about his grandparents, and speaking in Spanish, on national television. To me, that was where it was like, all right, I'll listen to it. I got it. You're frustrated. There's a finite line of being aggressively upset and being an asshat. And that was where it kind of crossed for me.
Yeah, for those that are listening via podcast, we're currently playing the video of Diego Pavia enjoying himself at the club with some young woman of sorts. The sign, the bottle sign, F Indiana, and he's throwing the bird at it. So, yeah. I mean,
like Lance brings up a good point right here. Cockiness is fine, but keep it on the field. Him on the field, again, to me, the version that we see of him on the field, dude, I'll always root for that. That to me is what I want in my quarterback. I want people to rally around him the same way that I've seen Vanderbilt do it. I want to see that. Don't take it out on a kid that did the exact same thing as you when other people liked him a little bit more. That was where I was like, but now you got to go out and show it against Iowa because you're playing in that bowl game. You have an opportunity to go ahead and end with 11 wins on the year. You get to change the culture. You're going to get the statue built of you outside First Bank Stadium. We know it's coming. But still, now you have to get the attention back on you for all the right reasons. Why we viewed you as a promising quarterback prospect and why we thought that you were a top 5 passer and deserve to be in New York City. Because you can't be talking a mad game and then say F the voters and all this stuff and screw Indiana and then not be able to deliver against a Big Ten team when you face off against them in the ReliaQuest Bowl. That's just my stance.
Cole, very well said. Either way, Diego Pavia finishes second. Fernando Mendoza, congratulations, wins the Heisman Trophy. Not my Heisman. Diego's my Heisman, baby. Diego's my Heisman. He's my Heisman.
He did, now, to be fair, he did release a statement. So just so we're all on the same page.
Diego Pavia did?
He did release a statement. I'll read it for you guys right now.
Just now?
Yep. Being a part of the Heisman ceremony last night as a finalist was such an honor. As a competitor, just like everything I do, I want to win. To be so close to my dream and to come up short was painful. I didn't handle those emotions well, and it did not represent myself the way I wanted to. I have much love and respect for the Heisman voters and the selection process, and I apologize for being disrespectful. It was a mistake, and I am sorry. So I'll give him credit. He apologized.
Here's the statement right here.
Little too late and some things, but still, an apology is an apology. You can take that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure this was very encouraged by
Clark Lee,
Vanderbilt themselves. Yeah, Vanderbilt themselves. I would imagine so. And boy, I'm sure that these replies are going to be
just the
very,
best.
very well measured, no doubt. So there you go. Diego Pavia issuing a statement saying, my bad, y'all. My bad. Sorry for partying. So you're all good in our book, Diego.
Yeah.
All is forgiven. All good. Anyways, Bear, let's keep it moving. We got some other news and notes to get into, guys. I promise we're also going to get into your questions. Before we do, though, our news and notes are brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. I want to mention our friends at Game Time, guys. Again, you're going to need your tickets for the college football playoff, bowl season, college basketball, the NFL, literally anything and everything you go to, you need tickets, right? Download the Game Time app today. Use promo code SECU at checkout. You're going to get $20 off your first purchase. Like I mentioned, guys, every single partner that we partner with and we talk to you guys about, we're very careful and meticulous of that. We do so because we want to partner with people that are going to help our audience at the end of the day, right? They're going to help you, whether it's, get in on the gambling action or some other active service or whatever it is. This one specifically hits home. I use them every single week whenever we're buying tickets, when we're on the tour, and who can't use an extra $20? And if you've looked at the college football playoff and you've looked at the ticket prices, we can all use an extra $20, whether it's for gas, it's for concession, it's for parking, it's for just whatever you want it to be. So if you need your tickets, whether you're going to be in Oxford, you're going to be in Norman, you're going to be in College Station, you're going to be at any of the other first-round matchups, maybe you're a Georgia fan, you're getting your tickets for New Orleans, our friends at Game Time are the way to go. Download the Game Time app. Use promo code SECU for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, that's Game Time. Promo code SECU, $20 off. What time is it? It's always game time. Go get your tickets today. Bear, that being said, some news and notes to get into, kind of like we did the last time I was on with you. We're going to put a fun spin on these. I'm going to position these to you in a certain way and want to get your thoughts because certainly we've got some tidbits that we need to get into. The first one being Kalen DeBoer has issued a statement regarding his future as Alabama head coach. For those watching, I'm going to feature it on the screen here. Kalen DeBoer had this to say. The statement was actually released via Alabama, which is the NIL collective, of course, for the Alabama Crimson Tide. This coming from Kalen DeBoer, quote, "My family and I are very happy in Tuscaloosa and remain extremely grateful for the support of President Moeller, Greg Byrne, the board, and so many others. We have an incredible opportunity in front of us. So my sole focus is on Alabama football and our preparations to play Oklahoma in the college football playoff. I have not spoken and have no interest in speaking with anyone else about any other job. I am fully committed to this program, and I look forward to continuing as the head football coach at the University of Alabama." In quote, obviously, Bear, I think it's very safe to say this is sparked by a lot of the rumors out there. Penn State was the job first. Now the Michigan job opens up. Kalen DeBoer's name keeps being attached to some of these openings. He comes out, releases a statement. My question to you is this, Cole. My question to the audience is this: buy or sell Kalen DeBoer's statement about his future in Tuscaloosa?
Oh, 100% buy. I can't see it another way. Now, on Wednesday, there were some people that decided to call me out on Twitter and say, how dare you think he would ever leave for the Michigan job? No. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to watch the video in its entirety. And then when you do, you're allowed to comment afterwards. I said that I don't think he will take the Michigan job. What I also said is that if you're Michigan, you got to swing for the fences. And if you're Alabama, don't you got to feel like you landed the right guy when Penn State and Michigan, two other prolific programs, are going after your coach? And they're trying to come up with rumors and speculation that he's not happy down in Tuscaloosa because he's got to follow in the footsteps of Nick Saban. Like, you want to feel like that you nailed the hire to replace the greatest coach of college football of all time. And now we're hearing, hey, he may want to go to Ann Arbor. He may want to go to State College. And he's like, no, I want to stick around here. I embrace the challenge of being the next guy in place of Nick Saban. I embrace the factor of going throughout the due diligence of the SEC. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of money that will be thrown his way. I still think Michigan with Ward Manuel is going to make him an offer. I still think they're going to try to convince him to go elsewhere. But at the end of the day, he's at a blue blood school. He just took his team to the college football playoff. He just got them to the SEC title game. He's going to get a contract extension out of this. I don't know when it comes, but he will. He's got a top 5 recruiting class. They're going to go big in the transfer portal. They have a good foundation in place of young players to build his image moving forward. Sometimes when you have a great is amazing. I don't need perfect. And I think that you got it right now being great. And even if you don't win the national championship this year, guys, you're in the 12-team college football playoff and you beat Georgia on the road. I mean, like, at some point, you got to understand, it's never going to be Nick 2.0. It just isn't. And so when you set these sky high expectations of, oh, we got to go 11-1, and if we don't, then it's a failure, and the guy's got to be on the hot seat. Like, that's not college football anymore. Teams with NIL money is able to even the playing field. A bad snap could lead to a disastrous finish for a game. Little details can go such a long way, like not being prepared week one. But you got a dude that's beaten Kirby Smart twice. You got a guy that's been able to put himself in a position to where they're fighting for a playoff berth every season. Oh, and on top of that, they do a great job when it comes to recruiting. They're in a good spot. There was no reason for him to even release a statement, but just to go ahead and quiet those who are trying to come up with from an answer, cool, so be it. Here's the thing. What they're going to say right now is, well, he didn't sign a contract, so until he signs on the dotted line, he's available. Okay, I can't help you. Like, I just can't help you. If you don't want to believe me, so be it, but it is what it is. He's not leaving. There's no shot.
I don't really think I ever thought he was leaving. I do think it's interesting he released a statement. I didn't expect that. Didn't really see that coming. I mean, I guess in hindsight, I get it, just to quiet the noise going into game week. I understand that. Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting how much smoke there's been around him and some other smoke that we've heard about. You know, he's a West Coast guy, and I think there's a part of it, though, he also has to realize how good of a spot he's in. Like, bro, you're the head coach at Alabama. That Alabama is it is one of those elite jobs. So you are in a really good position.
If anything, you were going lateral. You weren't upgrading. And I think you're demoting in some ways, personally.
Yeah. I mean, what are the better jobs in college football than Alabama? Like, maybe you could say Ohio State, maybe.
Ohio State, and when run properly, LSU. And I think that's it.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, he's in a pretty good spot. I never really thought he was leaving, but yes, I'll say I buy it as well. Did he ever talk to him? I don't know. Yeah, I think it's more likely that he starts feeling the heat next year, and maybe then he would dip out, I guess. I don't know. I'd agree with you, though. I think for Alabama, the fan base, it's entertaining because I've talked about it on here before. You and I have some mutual Bama buddies that I've seen it firsthand. When Bama loses a game, you think the world's ending for Alabama people. It's just the fan base. It's not used to losing games, especially
they can't handle the fact that you may go 10-2 and still be in the play.
Yeah, losing multiple games in a season is like sacrilegious in Tuscaloosa. But yeah, tis the new era of college football, including, by the way, with the 9-game conference schedules that are coming in the 2026 season. Bear, some other big news that dropped. This came out via Pete Thamel. I want to pull up the exact tweet here because it's not technically officially official, although it is trending that way. And it's in regards to South Carolina quarterback LaNorris Sellers. There has been a lot of speculation whether he was going to return. There, a lot of people out there in the media saying that he'd be a good fit here, good fit there. Should he transfer? What should he do? Should he go to the NFL? A lot of speculation about LaNorris Sellers' future. Pete Thamel reported Saturday morning, sources say South Carolina star quarterback LaNorris Sellers is nearing a deal to return to the school for his redshirt junior year in 2026. He's indicated to the staff that he'll be returning. The sides are expected to finalize a deal soon. Bear, your immediate reactions to LaNorris Sellers. It looks like at least, as long as this deal goes through, he is going to be back in Columbia and is going to be South Carolina starting quarterback under a new OC, which I know you've already talked about in great detail. And I will say, Kendall Briles, I commend Shane Beamer for the hire. This was not a Beamer-esque hire, and we don't have to really get into the details of why I think that. Do I think Shane Beamer did all of the legwork when it came to hiring the next OC? I think there was some input, let me just say this, outside of just what Shane Beamer wanted. I think he was helped when it comes to this OC hire. I like it. Outside the box. Now you get LaNorris Sellers back. I mean, Cole, you got to think at minimum that injects a good deal of optimism and positivity going into 2026, a year that will be pivotal for Shane Beamer and his future there.
Well, think about this for a second. Where did South Carolina's athletic director just come from?
TCU.
So there's a connection there, and that definitely means, in my opinion, that Donati had a somewhat say on let's get ourselves a person from the outside that I know we can trust. There's a couple things I'll take away. Number one, I commend LaNorris Sellers not taking the money and running off to the NFL. I don't think he was ready. I think that the tools would be so enticing that a team would put him as a top 10 pick. He wouldn't live up to the billing. And so understanding that for what's best in my career, going back to college and playing one more year, being able to develop better as a passer, work with small, minor details, I commend him on that one. That's first thing. Number two, South Carolina has got to spend money on the transfer portal by fixing the offensive line. That is just a non-negotiable at this point. So whether or not he had a conversation with Kendall Briles and Shane Beamer and said, I want to go enter the transfer portal unless you pay me this amount of money, to me, it doesn't matter if you can't protect him. This was the worst offensive line in the Power Four last year. He was constantly under duress. There was no protection whatsoever when it came to pass pro. And it's not the only thing that you have to worry about. You got to get better, I think, with the running game. I think that you have to add in a tight end. I very much think that you should add in a wide receiver number 2 at least. Maybe even a wide receiver number 1, depending on Nick Harbor's status. Get some experience in there. But it all starts with the offensive line. That is just a non-negotiable. If he ends up going back to a team that does not invest properly when it comes to building up its trenches, we're going to be right back at where we were in 2026. He's going to eventually go from being a top 5 pick to a 5th or 6th round selection. Shane Beamer's going to be fired, and Kendall Briles may be out of a job too. That's just going to be the case if they can't fix the offensive line. The third thing is I'm very intrigued with how this offense is going to look because there are some things that really do fit for Briles when it comes to working with Sellers. He worked with a mobile quarterback when it came to KJ Jefferson. There is a mentality of trusting the ground game. That's what you're going to get, I think, by adding in a premier name. I'll tell you right now, CJ Baxter is made available from Texas. He's in the portal. I very much would be making that phone call if I was Shane Beamer and trying to get him in my backfield. Pair him alongside with Fuller and say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to establish a solid ground game. You have the ability to, I think, see the vision of where Kendall Briles is going with this. But we've also seen there be layups and setbacks when it came to Briles running an offense with a mobile quarterback. So there's a lot of uncertainty right now with it. I commend everyone working together to put themselves in a great position to where you now know that there's stability at the quarterback position. You don't have to go ahead and rush Landon Duckworth. If you don't think that you're ready to go with Aaron Nolan, so be it. There's a lot of stability in that standpoint. But unless you fix the offensive line, I don't know if it's going to work out. I genuinely don't. And that's where part of me also says the expectations are going to be really high and you're getting paid a lot of money. If you were paid a lot of money to go down to Miami, you may be in a better position to win. That doesn't mean I don't think LaNorris Sellers should be a part of South Carolina. That doesn't mean I think that the War Chickens can't go back to being a playoff team next year. I just think that right now there are so many questions I have when it comes to how else are you going to fix the offense? Because you can blame part of it on Sellers, but there's a lot of things you can also blame on just the overall identity of the team, where they were with the ground game, where they were with the offensive personnel. How do you upgrade at wide receiver? How do you upgrade in the trenches? Because if you don't do anything like that, you're sitting at 4-8 once again in 2026.
And if you're sitting at 4-8 once again, LaNorris Sellers, sure, he'll be headed off to the league, but there'll be major changes within the South Carolina football program as well from a leadership standpoint. I can assure you of that.
The coach puts on the hottest seat going into 2026 in the SEC. Yeah, it's just non-negotiable for that.
It's safe to say 4-8 would not get it done. You need the inverse of that. I do love, Cole, you essentially listed every single position on the offense outside of quarterback that they need to upgrade. Not saying you're wrong. It just is funny because you can literally go down the list and they need to improve at there's not a single position that you look at and say that was good enough in 2025. I think it's a big deal. Obviously, LaNorris Sellers is back. I am curious what the expectations will be for him in 2026. They'll be high, but I think they'll be more tempered than they were going into this season.
Sure.
And it's I commend Shane Beamer for the Kendall Briles hire because I think it says a lot too that you got a couple of guys that are taking a chance on you that know, hey, if this thing goes south, I'm going to be looking for another job this time next year. So there's got to be a great deal of faith and belief that, hey, that's not going to be the case. This thing is going to be turned around. This thing is on much more steady, firm footing than maybe what people seem to think on the outside, despite the going 4-8 and the way that the season went. But yeah, you've got a guy in LaNorris Sellers that deciding to come back to your school that is just, he does a lot of things you can't coach. You know, we talked about it all season long. Like when he was really, really good, he was special. Like he's a special football player, excuse me. He's a special football player. It'll be up to Kendall Briles. That'll be his number one goal and objective. And I agree with you. The offensive line's got to improve. That just bottom line. None of it matters if the O-line isn't better. But Kendall Briles will be judged at the end of the day if he could get LaNorris Sellers back to looking more like the LaNorris Sellers we saw in 2024. But again, I go back to your point because, Cole, I almost asked you the question, and I felt like maybe it was silly, so I didn't do so. Big deal, little deal, or no deal that LaNorris Sellers is coming back. But I could argue it's a little deal.
It's a little deal.
It's not as big a deal as it should be because think about it. 2024, LaNorris Sellers was special. No denying that. But the reason that football team was good was Rocket Sanders.
Yeah.
And the running game. And where they sat when it came to rushing totals. And
defense too.
And the defense too, right. But like just strictly talking on the offense, they were able to run the football. They were balanced. It wasn't all on 16 to make plays. Look at what happened in 2025. There was no running game to speak of. That put them in some really bad situations. LaNorris Sellers certainly took a step back and regressed and blamed Mike Shula for it. But, yeah, I think for Kendall Briles, it's even more about can they scheme up a run game and can they go get guys on the offensive line that are going to be able to give him the protection he needs. Again, it's not as big a deal as it should be because if the pieces around him aren't right, like you said, it's just not going to mean a whole lot. It's just really he'll still make plays and he'll have his moments, but the offense still will not be good. Bottom line, you can't live in this league being weak at the line of scrimmage. You just can't do it.
No, to me, it's like, cool, he's back as a starting quarterback. That's a good thing because if you have stability at the most important position. But this is the SEC we're talking about. And there cannot be a weak crack in some part of the armor because then the ship is going to flood on up and it's going to let everybody drown in the process. And you got cracks everywhere right now on this team, on the offensive side, with a leadership standpoint, with an actual personnel standpoint, with a coaching standpoint. So, like, it's not a big deal because of, you get yourself to your quarterback. There's got to be an ellipses there. What else? Because if it's just him, you're running back what basically, in my opinion, was an underwhelming season already last year to just hit the reset button in that point again.
Their final thing here is, again, we talk news and notes. This one kind of snuck up on me as you and I were talking pre-show. Kirby Moore, Missouri OC, or at least he was the Missouri OC. He has been named the head coach at Washington State. Kirby Moore getting a big opportunity to be a head man. What does it mean for the Missouri Tigers? I mean, do we have a hot board of OCs out there? I feel like this is one that, again, went kind of under the radar over the weekend.
There's a few.
Mizzou will be looking for a new offensive coordinator, Eli Drinkwitz and company, actively on the look. So congratulations, Kirby Moore. Well-deserved. He did a great job at MIZ, but certainly this feels like a big loss, I think, for them.
Well, think about this, dude. They went from having sub 500 seasons or 6-6 campaigns with Eli Drinkwitz running the offense to going out hiring Kirby Moore and then back-to-back 10-win campaigns. And then this upcoming year, they went 8-4, and they didn't have a signature win, but they still went 8-4, and the offense was just as dynamic as it was without Luther Burden, without Brady Cook, without Theo Weiss. So when you have all that together, that means that the guy who's running the plays is probably a big-time deal. And so now we're talking about Eli Drinkwitz potentially having to hire somebody else because he probably won't call plays. But we're getting back to the question of what really was the thing working for Missouri? Was it Kirby Moore running the offense and you just being a good leader? Was it potentially, you having an opinion on the offensive personnel? Like, because we have not seen Missouri be prominent underneath Eli Drinkwitz without Kirby Moore there. So now we're kind of going right back into that same conversation of who is going to be your OC, or are you calling plays? And there are certainly some names out there. I mean, when you look around the league, Big 12 schools, ACC schools, even I think some Big 10 schools, there will be options available for proven play callers to go on into Como and help a team that already has a stable quarterback in play and a young quarterback with Zollers, 2 great running backs with Jamal Roberts and Ahmad Hardy, a couple of young receivers like Donovan all back in there. Like, there's enough for you to believe that we just get the right play caller on in, we're going to be right back in the same 9-3 conversation in 2026.
Going to be interesting to see who Eli Drinkwitz and company go get. Of course, Drink, an offensive guru of sorts. He'll be looking for the correct OC. Like you mentioned, when they brought him in, Kirby Moore changed Missouri football. I mean, really, truly, or at least helped change Missouri football and got them to the heights that they reached.
Do you have a name that you can go after right now?
Who's that?
No, I'm saying, do you have a name?
Oh, the only one I'm going to say is a silly one. Bobby Petrino.
Yeah, I thought about that.
It feels silly. It feels
go throughout
silly.
the SEC. Finish the tour, man. I mean, you've already been to A&M.
Yeah.
Just go here, and then when Ben Arbuckle leaves, go to Oklahoma, and then eventually find your way down to Texas.
Just stoke the fire of the Arkansas-Mizzou rivalry.
You would have coached at all the schools from either the Big 12 or the Southwest Conference. Like, just finish the job, dude. There's 2 names I really like. The first one is Casey Woods. He's the offensive coordinator for SMU. They worked together when they were at Auburn in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. And he's had a really good rapport of working with mobile quarterbacks, top 30 offenses the last 2 years that he was there. And then another name that I think is going to be really prominent that probably is not going to be the hire, but I do like him. It's Jimmy Doherty. Now, for those of you that don't know who Jimmy Doherty is, he's the offensive coordinator for Washington. Washington, I believe, is going to be making a head coaching hire soon because I think that Jed Fish is going to take the Michigan job. If you don't want to follow him to Michigan and they're willing to pay you a very significant pay grade in terms of a raise to go down to Columbia, you have a spot. And keep this in mind. He was a former Missouri quarterback. So he has ties to the St. Louis area. He played for them for like 14 games. He threw for over 1,000 yards. He spent time throughout the entire area in the country. If he wants to get home, he wants to go to the Midwest, there's a job available right up the road from where he grew up. So I don't think that's a bad move. But those would be the first 2 phone calls I'd make.
I like it. Our guy Cole will be all over it, talking hot board, talking who may be the next. Oh, so you got to imagine Eli Drinkwitz and company are going to want to move quickly when it comes to getting the next offensive coordinator in there. Guys, that being said, before we get out of here, would love to take your questions, your comments, your reactions to everything. We'll go through each and every single one of your questions. We really love hearing from you guys and appreciate your love and support of the show. Guys, that being said, I do want to tell you about something really special. Bear, college baseball season is around the corner. And our friends just down the road from Mr. Cole the Bear Thompson are going to be hosting us in mid to late February. Of course, I'm talking about our friends over at the College Children's Shriners, if I can say this, Shriners Children's College Showdown, the Amagi College Baseball Showdown. It's funny. I'm sitting here talking about it, Cole. I don't even have the ad read pulled up for it. But, yeah, I'm completely drawing a blank now. We talked about this earlier. Either way, down in Arlington, Texas, home of the Texas Rangers, globelifefield.com. You can get your tickets using the promo code BASEBALL to get 20% off on all of your general admission ticket options. Again, they've got tickets essentially everywhere throughout the stadium. We will be there. Again, it's 3 separate weekends, the Shriners Children's College Baseball Showdown and the Amagi Baseball College Baseball Series. Tons of different SEC teams. I think the weekend that we're going to be going, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Texas A&M, along with 5 other teams will be in attendance for this tournament. Going to be a lot of fun. It's crazy to think we're already talking about college baseball, especially when you think about the fact that it's in the 20s right now in Nashville. It's a very harsh reminder we are in the off season. But do not fret, my friends, because soon, very, very soon, college baseball season will be here, and you need to make sure you are in Arlington, Texas, Globe Life Field to take it all in at both of the tournaments there. Again, it's going to be a lot of fun. globelifefield.com, promo code baseball, 20% off all of your GA ticket options. Globe Life Field. It all starts here. The road to Omaha very, very soon will be underway in Arlington. So I'm hoping to see Cole there, actually. I really am. Hopefully we can get the Bear down to Arlington.
We'll make it work.
I know you probably swear that place off since you're an Astros guy, but it's okay. Home of the Texas Rangers. They treated us really, really well last year. We're excited to actually be partnering up with them this go around to go down there and watch the college baseball. Vanderbilt's going to be there on the opening weekend. Oklahoma is going to be there. I think Arkansas is going to be there opening weekend. Auburn, I know, is going to be there the second weekend. So a lot of good baseball. Over that 3-week stretch, if you will. All right, let's get into some of these questions, Bear. Guys, Sandman, we'll kick it off with him. What's one thing that surprised you regarding all the SEC stadiums you visited this season? Any memorable moment to stand out to you? Well, first things first, Sandman. I mean, I feel like you're teeing me up for this because I watched this game with you and Cole was with me. The moment that, and there's a few moments, but the Red River shootout was unbelievable. I mean, that experience. That atmosphere was unlike anything I've ever experienced. Obviously, I got to watch the game with Sandman in the stadium. Just the, everything everybody had told me, from the state fair to the 50-50 split to just the fan bases, how they interact with each other, the sound in the stadium, it was absolutely incredible. In regards to surprising, I don't know that anything just like really jumped out and surprised me per se. I don't know that anything was like really, really surprising. I'm trying to think. I don't know. My big takeaway is Red River, man. That one went from, hey, I'll get there when I get there. We'll make it a point to go, to I got to go every year now.
It's appointment therapy at this point.
Yeah, that feels like a must visit for us every single season. So I'll be pumped to get back down there. Let's see. Getting into the rest of your questions, your comments. Sooner Cowboy says he's got Oklahoma, Georgia for the Natty. Oklahoma's offense better get their ass in gear.
Yeah.
They will get the national titles on.
Because you got a defense that can do it. I will die on that take, Sooner Cowboy. You got a defense that can win you a national title. But you have got an offense that's going to keep you out of the first round of the playoff. Like I heard some people arguing that Oklahoma, with the head-to-head win over Alabama, should be out of the playoff to let Notre Dame in because their offense was so bad. Like I legit heard that from people. So your offense better have something going in its direction if you want to say they're playing for a national title.
Cole, shout out our girl Sierra SECT. She says Bobby Petrino to UNC with Chapel Bill.
I mean, that'd be the greatest way to get him fired and just hit reset on the best job in the ECC. Yeah, I'm all for it. All for it. Totally for it if that's going to be the case.
Oh, gosh. Sooner Cowboy says Mateer threw for 300 yards against LSU. It was close because of 3 turnovers. Oklahoma running back should be at least 85%. And OU's second wide receiver got his first TD catch against LSU after his knee injury during the offseason. Yeah, again, they'll be depending on those guys, specifically John Mateer, to have a big day against Alabama. Sandman, good question again. What's the most underrated SEC stadium and why? Most underrated SEC stadium. I didn't get there this season, Cole, but I'm probably going to say Fayetteville, Arkansas. I enjoyed it. It's a very nice stadium. Very, very nice. Now, hopefully a change in regime, change in leadership can turn the volume up in that place, because when it gets rowdy, it's fun. I mean, when I was there for the Tennessee game last year, that was a really, really fun spot. I think that's one that's very, very underrated. That's not normally very highly ranked when you rank the stadiums. That's a fun one.
I hate this college town. I've never been a fan of this town whatsoever, and I had to go there a lot because of just the proximity for traveling purposes for work. But I am a big fan of Davis Wade Stadium out in Starkville. I very much think that
I had a great time. Very
unique stadium with the way that the sound reverbs down and it cascades throughout the entire walls, and the way that it hits, like you can hear it inside the press box. It's a little smaller than most stadiums in the SEC, but that sound carries. And it is a pure annoyance for fans if you're just there randomly. But if you're a part of that culture, it honestly feels like one of the best game day environments. And it doesn't get talked about enough because of it's Mississippi State. But I love Davis Wade Stadium. I think it's a phenomenal location for football. If you want to see two teams go after it, like I personally think that that's the better of the two venues when it comes to the Egg Bowl. Like it always is just built to a new level when they play it at Davis Wade versus when they play it on the road and they play it in Oxford.
Yeah, it's a very unique sound, the cowbells. Something you got to get used to. And I don't know if you really ever can get
You
used to
never
it.
get used to it. Let's just
Yeah, call it what it is. You probably can't. Here's a good question, Bear, for both of us from Beaumont and Ari. Which first-year SEC coach will have the best first season?
I mean, you know where I'm going with this one. John Summerall.
Yeah.
I think John Summerall so far has nailed his offense coordinator hire. He's kept and retained the right people from the athletic side for recruiting. He's done a good job of retaining a lot of the people when it comes to the behind-the-scenes staff. And Florida, I think, is going to do a good job of retaining a lot of the talent. And they're going to flip some kids that are in the transfer portal that I think are probably going to be game changers for this roster. I'm very high on what John Summerall's going to do next season. And I like their schedule. I think that 9-3 is possible. I would lean 8-4 just because it's a new year, new coach. But 9-3 is not going to surprise me if you go out to Gainesville with what you have currently and Buster Faulkner running the offense.
I like the John Summerall pick, Bear. I'm going to go Lane Kiffin at LSU, though.
Yeah.
I think he's going to win. I think he's going to win immediately, despite all the off-field stuff, despite how you might feel about him personally. I do think they are going to win at a high level. Sandman, good question. Talking about best food restaurants you tried during the SECU tour. I would say this. Tune in this week. We're actually dropping SEC Unfiltered Tour superlatives this week for the 2025 season. So that is one you're going to want to make sure you're tuned into. And I'll also, of course, expand and mention some of the runners-up and some of the others that were top of mind for me that almost won the award or what have you. We will have best food. We will have best food as a superlative. So make sure you lock in for that. I would probably say Wednesday. I'll dive into that. And again, we'll post the graphic and all that good stuff. But yeah, lots of great food, man.
I like this one real fast.
Yeah.
Chad, is there a chance Ryan Grubb takes a head coaching job after Bama gets taken down? I'll be completely transparent, Chad. I believe that if Jed Fish gets the job at Michigan, one of the first phone calls will be to Ryan Grubb. I do believe that. He's got ties to the state. He stayed in Seattle the last time because he wanted to stay with his family for the head coaching job. For the offense coordinator job for the Seahawks. I will be very shocked if he is not a front runner for that position. Now, if somebody else is, like, let's say they go hire Sean Lewis or they go hire Matt Entz from Fresno State. I don't know if he'll go there. But if the Washington job does become made available, I think that Ryan could be at least in the conversation as a top 3 guy.
One's a West Coast guy, always a West Coast guy, man. It's just hard to stay away from it forever. So let's see. Any others? We could take y'all's questions all night long. Our guy Alex, by the way, in the chat, just says Florida Gators. He loves that John Summerall hire just as much, if not more, than you do, Cole. So
I don't think anybody loves the John Summerall hire more than me. I genuinely don't. I genuinely think that most people are going to be like, because I've already said this. I know I was high on Billy Napier. I have been high. When you and I first met, you heard how much I was like losing my mind over Jeff Levy not getting the job. Jeff Levy getting the job over John Summerall at Mississippi State. So like this has been like going on for like 3 years, guys, waiting for John Summerall to make it to the SEC and like kind of hitch my wagon to that team. So like I don't know if there's as many people who are as high on John Summerall the way that I am. Like I was very nervous as an Alabama grad that I'd be actually looking at Auburn as a legit program I'd be content saying could win a title because they got the right coach in John Summerall. And I don't hate Auburn. Well, actually, I hate all 16 teams in the SEC equally, as we all know. But still, it'd be a little bit sacrilegious in my house to be like, hey, War Eagle. It's like, what'd you just say? No, I'm sorry. John Summerall changed the error of my ways, guys.
Bear, in closing here, before we do get out of here, again, guys, we really appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. This is always a blast, and we're really excited. Again, full previews, predictions for all of these college football playoff games as well as bowl games are coming very, very soon. I'd probably say by end of week, so make sure you stay tuned for that. It's going to be content bleeding out of the eyeballs. I'm excited to be back. Had a great time last week, disconnecting, decompressing, hitting the ski slopes, but we're locked in now, getting ready for the weekend that is ahead. Again, I'm so stoked to be back in the saddle. And with that being said, the SEC Unfiltered Tour hits the road once again. We're back on the road this weekend. I had a week to think about it, hey, where are we going to go? What game we're going to go to? I thought about storylines. I thought about just straight up intrigue. We've got SEC on SEC. We've got the first game post Lane Kiffin down in Oxford. We've got Texas A&M in Miami, which, Colt versus convicts. I mean, you could just start labeling it like that if you want. There's a lot of different storylines and dynamics and a lot of different things that went into this decision. I want everybody to know before I announce it, please don't take it personally, but we make the best possible decisions we can for us and what we think makes the most compelling spot to travel to. That being said, we will be hitting the road. Notice I said hitting the road, Cole.
I did.
To Oxford, Mississippi to go watch the Ole Miss Rebels take on Tulane. And again, there's a couple different reasons for that. Ole Miss, post Lane Kiffin, Pete Golding, his first game was something I could not pass up, seeing what this product looks like. The other big reason, I'm excited to announce we will be hosting a live show Friday afternoon from the Velvet Ditch right off of the square. If you're not familiar with it, it's one of the best spots in Oxford, one of the biggest, baddest spots. We'll get it all going around 5 o'clock or so. Kelsey Faris will be joining me just like she did a couple weeks ago when I was in Oxford last for the Ole Miss Florida game. We'll go live, probably 30, 45-minute live show, something like that. And then, of course, we'll have a big meet and greet and party with all the Rebels. And if there's any Green Wave folks that want to get after it at the Velvet Ditch also, we'll be there all night long. Really appreciate those guys partnering up with us, giving us the opportunity to throw a big event there at one of the best establishments in Oxford. And then, of course, we will go into the game Saturday, hit up the game at Vaught Hemingway. Really excited, Bear. I mean, listen. This is probably the biggest sporting event in the history of the state of Mississippi, if we're being totally honest.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm excited for it. Listen, I know Oklahoma fans are going to get all upset and mad at me, and I know Texas A&M fans, same thing. I get it. I understand, but we had to make a tough decision, and it is Oxford, Mississippi, and I'm really excited to get back down there with the Rebels. I am.
Well,
I'm super pumped.
Just a reminder, dude, you did nothing wrong. You decided to go to where the numbers were going to be. And at the college football selection process, a.k.a. the ratings people, realized, hey, we're really going to have Texas A&M and Miami be the 11 a.m. game. If we just want to throw it out there, just want to throw it out there, you can't even get the scheduling right. Because if you move that to 7 o'clock, he would be going there at all. I promise you, he would be going to Kyle Field.
Yeah, listen, there are factors that, just admittedly, it has nothing to do with like whose team I like the most or anything like that. There are factors that weigh in on these decisions. Admittedly, travel's a part of it. What time the game is at is a part of it. I admittedly try to avoid those early kicks like the plague. And also, too, guys, I love Norman. I love College Station. When we have someone offering us the opportunity to host an event at one of the best places in that respected city, it's pretty hard to impossible for me to say no. So we're to a place to where, we've been doing the touring stuff for 2 years now, going into 2026. This is something we'll talk more about at some point, though, but it's going into 2026. When we're going on the road, if we're not doing an event, if we're not throwing something else on besides just going to tailgates and going to the game, we're almost kind of doing a disservice to our fans at that point when we could be doing so much more. So there will come an opportunity in Norman and College Station where we'll do that very same thing, but the stars aligned on this to throw this event at the Velvet Ditch. I'm really, really pumped for it, man. They were great to us the last time we were there. Got to meet them just a couple weeks ago, and they said, hey, man, come on back. We'd love for you guys to do a live show. We'll take care of you. We got everything set up. So SEC Unfiltered, the Velvet Ditch, Kelsey Faris, and all the rest of the gang will be down there in Oxford, Mississippi. Really, really looking forward to it. Should be a fun day for the Rebels and certainly a fun weekend for SEC Unfiltered. So really, really pumped. And listen, there's probably a lot of, let's call it for what it is, a lot of probably Oklahoma and A&M fans that are thankful that I won't be there because they might think I'll bring them bad luck or something. I have no idea. So
I think that most people from the state of Alabama are thankful you will not be there.
that too. That is actually a very, very valid point. Good call from you. In closing, that being said, Cole, anything else before we get out of here and put a pin in it?
I'll see you guys on Friday when we do a live stream post game. I will see you on Saturday afternoon when we do a post game. And I'll see you on Sunday when we do a post game. When also we do Wednesday show. So we got 2 more times before we go out.
Listen, Wednesday's show will be a fun one because we're going to lock in some bowl pick 'em.
Yeah.
And have some fun with the bowl games too. We might power rank
I'm power ranking this show.
The best of the worst, most entertaining to you'd rather watch paint dry. when it comes to the bowl games. It's bowl season, baby. We made it. Happy bowl season to all of those who celebrate. And if you don't, you're not a fan of this show because we're all degenerates here. All degenerates are welcome. Come one, come all. That being said, guys, we are going to get out of here. We really appreciate each and every single one of you. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, all across your favorite social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, make sure you check out our friends over at FanDuel, fanduel.com/SECU. Get in on the action today. You're going to get $300 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Guys, college football playoff odds are still out there, national championship odds, all these spreads, totals, what have you for all these different bowl games. College basketball's in full swing, NBA, NHL, you name it, they have got it. FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. Guys, once again, that's going to do all for us. The Overtime Drive officially in the books. I'm Chris Phillips. He's Cole the Bear Thompson. Till next time. Y'all have a great rest of y'all Sunday night. We'll talk to you all on the other side. Cheers.